Shows us live. Why don't I see us yet?
It's still loading. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Another Page. So how are you doing tonight? Lep?
They keep
Lep?
disappearing.
Are you there? Hello? Hello?
Hi, honey.
I was like, can you not hear me?
I do.
Okay.
The music kept going and going and going.
So how are you doing this weekend?
I am doing well. How are you? How was your week? Has it been wild and crazy?
Well, I'm not essential.
Uh-oh. Well, now it depends on whom you talk to. If you ask me, I'd say you're most assuredly essential because without you being there, then I wouldn't be here. So, yes, no, you're very much essential. You have to be
Well,
there.
according to work, there's not enough work to make me essential right now. So,
Well, like I said, I think you're essential.
oh, well, thank you. So,
Well,
how
'cause
about
you
your
have.
week? How have you been?
Other than not being able to go to old Chicago on Monday, there really hasn't been much of it. I mean, my pantry is stocked, my freezer is stocked. I still have to pay for cable the same. No real change, other than I get to talk to more people on Zoom during the week that I probably wouldn't see normally. Although here lately, we've all pretty much been hanging out in the Zoom rooms anyway.
Very true. Very, very true. Yeah, I've been spending a lot more time in there than normal.
Which is fine. That's great. Hey, it's fun being over in there and hanging out.
Yeah, I've been spending the evenings in there. I'm blaming Kenzie and Chris for it.
Well, they normally do have a tendency to rope one in
Yeah, they
and
do.
keep you entertained as well. And so far, it looks like it's just you and I in the chat room, huh? Hi, how are you there? Ain't you a peach?
I am good. I am just putting out the post. So how about
Don't you
you?
love it?
How,
Great.
anything interesting? Anything interesting? Is the pollen about killing you or
Well, I have allergies, like most of us do. The tree pollen has been way, way up. I get up every morning and I have to chase my nose around the house because it's just running all for at least an hour after I get up. I walk to get the mail. I take a little, hanky with me because it's like, geez, I think I'd feel better if I could, shove a tampon or something up there just to quit running. It's terrible.
yeah, I woke up this morning and somebody had posted the count, and it was over 6,000. The pollen count.
Ooh. Well, and then the heat and humidity that we've had the last 2 days hasn't hurt it any. So it's got to be. I'll bet you your car looks like it's been repainted, shall we say, in a yellower hue.
Yeah, it's horrible, and I mean just everything. You look outside. Even today, I looked out the window, and everything just had this. It's like looking through yellow glasses, if that
Right.
makes
Well,
sense.
remember the old line, you see the world through rose colored
Ah,
glasses. Yeah. Well, this is pollen. And speaking of pollen, it kind of leads us into the hello. Are you ready?
I am ready. Go for it.
Good evening, everybody. And ain't you a peaches? We're having a great night. It's happy Saturday. It's the 88th day with 278 remaining. Today is National Weed Appreciation Day. Yes, no, Sue and everybody thinking that, yeah, we get to burn a great big old fat one today. I guess we probably could. It is considered a weed. But humans have used weeds for food and herbs for much of recorded history. Some are edible and nutritious, while others have medical value. Let me give you a few examples. You have yellow dock burdock. The taproot of the young burdock plants can be harvested and eaten as a root vegetable, like you would carrots or something along those lines. The immature flower stalks may also be harvested in late spring and use flowers like a salad. The flavor of the stalks resembles that of an artichoke and is a source of dietary fiber and certain minerals, including calcium and potassium. It's also been used as a medicinal herb. A lamb's quarter is another one. It's added to salads and lettuce. It can be cooked and used as a replacement for spinach. Lamb's quarter seeds are also edible and a good source of protein and vitamin A. Amaranth, boy, I keep saying that one wrong all the time, I'm sure, also known as pigweed. Spices are cultivated and consumed as a leafy vegetable in many parts of the world. The leaves can be cooked, their seeds can be harvested and cooked the same as quinoa. The root of the mature Aramuth plant is a popular vegetable. It's white and usually cooked with tomatoes and done in a gravy. The plant has a milky taste and is kind of alkaline. It also is high in vitamins and minerals, including vitamins A, K, B6, calcium, and iron. So, I mean, they're good for you. So, next time you're out weeding the yard before you chuck it out, think about it. It might be good for you. Today is also National Something on a Stick Day. You can't go wrong with anything on a stick. Let's face it, we've had fried Twinkies on a stick. You've had bacon wrapped jalapenos on a stick. I think the only two things that you probably couldn't do on a stick would be cereal and soup. But maybe if you froze the soups, I don't know, maybe a lobster bisque stick. I'm not sure. It's also National Triglycerides Day. So take care of your triglycerides. They keep your heart healthy. It's also National Black Forest Cake Day. So I guess if you have the Black Forest cake, it'll probably jack up your triglycerides. I'm not really sure. I'm not a medical doctor, nor do I play one on TV.
All
But
right, let's
speaking
go.
of fruits and vegetables, if tomatoes are technically a fruit, is ketchup technically a smoothie then? That didn't come out. Let's try that again.
I think I threw up a little bit
There
in
we
my
go.
mouth. It's funny because when I was a kid, I used to love ketchup. Oh my god, I couldn't eat anything without ketchup. Oh, had to have ketchup. I had friends actually joke around about sending me cases of ketchup for my birthday, and yeah, now mm, I do use it sparingly.
Sparingly.
It's
My
my favorite.
sister uh, loves ketchup, Heinz ketchup. She will wipe out an entire bottle of Heinz ketchup at breakfast. I mean, for Christmas presents, we've given her gallon, the number 10
Oh,
cans of Heinz. She also has stock in Heinz ketchup. It's only one share, but she does have stock in it. Hey, we got Rocky with us. Hi, hon.
mm.
Yay, Miss
A
Rocky.
bottle of ketchup. Yes, Rocky.
Yeah, an entire bottle. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
I like ketchup with my eggs and taters too, but them bottles are pretty good size. The whole thing's gone.
I do like ketchup on hash browns, but not eggs. I will put tomatoes in there. Does that count?
Well, yeah, see, then you can make an omelet. I mean, if you like bell peppers, then you can have a Denver omelet. You can have maters and ham and bell peppers all thrown in there together. And yeah,
No, I don't eat peppers. Nope, nope,
oh,
nope.
that's good. Yeah, nor I. Now, I don't mind a jalapeno or a
Oh
poblano, but
no.
bell peppers, nope. I just don't care for the taste of them. They permeate everything that they're cooked with. My Mom, growing up, would always make stuffed peppers. And hey, Mama Lee, hi, hon. Uh, she'd take the rice and hamburger and fill it full of and they go, well, I know you don't like the pepper, just eat the inside. It still tasted like bell pepper. That's just me. I think once you add bell peppers to it, that's all. Everything tastes like bell peppers.
I don't. I think about spaghetti, and everybody that I know throws bell peppers in it. And to this day, I just can't even eat regular spaghetti because I think of bell peppers. It's just okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Bell peppers I can pass on quite easily. And no, they don't go in spaghetti. I mean, if you want to put garlic in there, if you want to put oregano or some rosemary or some thyme, maybe a little bit of sweet basil.
It's like jalapeno. See, I like spicy. I like salsa. Salsa is really good. Now
Well,
to
it's good.
actually take a jalapeno and like put it in my mouth and just bite it, I can't do that. That's not happening.
Yeah, well, now I've had jalapeno poppers, where they've taken the seeds out, filled them with cream cheese, and then wrapped it up in bacon and grilled it. Oh, my niece makes those things. They are like to die for. They
Yeah.
are muy excelente. The little yellow peppers, that you get in the bottles at the
I
grocery
think
store.
I forgot what they're called.
Um,
Oh, my
Peppers. I
dad's
don't
a
know
pepper eater. You remember El Chico?
who.
El Chico? It
El
used to be
Chico.
yeah, it was like an upper class Mexican style restaurant. And they used to bring out this little dish thing, and it would have peppers, like those kind of peppers, and various different types
Right.
of peppers soaking in stuff, and then a salsa, and then something else. My dad would literally sit there and just eat those peppers like it was candy.
Like he was sitting there eating chips and salsa. He just had
Yeah,
peppers.
it didn't phase him, but
Some of those things, some of those peppers are really, really good. And then there are some others. Growing up, my neighbors that helped raise me and my brother, the Canettes, Tom and Jenny Canette, and their kids babysat us when they got old enough in high school. But Jenny had this little jar of red peppers on her table. It was a paste. And if you wanted your food hot, you picked up that jar and you waved it over your top of your plate about twice. You didn't take any out. You just waved the jar over and it got plenty hot. If you wanted it to cook on your plate, you actually took some out and used it. I don't know what kind of a pepper paste it was, but
oh no, I've seen some of those videos of people eating the hottest
ghost
pepper.
pepper,
Yeah. I
ghost
laugh
peppers.
because, I mean, if you're going to do something like that, research things because they have a bottle of water and they take a bite and they start chasing it with the water. And even I know you never drink water when you eat a
Milk,
pepper. Milk.
milk, cut the fire, or put some salt in your hand and throw a little handful of salt in there. Not a handful, but
Mm,
like little quarter teaspoon, quarter tablespoon,
oh
and
yeah.
that'll kill it too. Yeah,
That's what
no,
makes
I'm not about to. And those people that eat them peppers like that, what are they like the next day? Oh my God, it has to be painful.
what's coming out the next day.
That's it. It's a cycle. What comes in the top drops out the bottom.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, I'll pass on any of those dares. It's kind of like the Tide Pod to me.
Now,
Yeah.
making salsa. I love making homemade salsa.
Oh
It
yeah.
is so good.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I will eat the peppers that are in salsa. And I'll eat jalapenos like in they're on top of nachos and stuff like that. But
Well, most of those
I
are
won't
pickled
pick them
too.
up and just bite it. I won't. I can't do
Yeah, my cojones aren't that grande. Nope,
that.
nope, nope.
So you sent me something today.
Oh, yes, I did. You mean that
Uh,
about a bill?
yes. The HR 5717. It's known at, or its nickname is the Gun Violence Prevention and Community Safety Act of 2020. So what
And
do
you
you
might
think
as well,
about this?
it pretty much just takes the Second Amendment and goes, yeah, you might as well send it to Venezuela for toilet paper.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I was kind of reading over this. This is I mean, I'm really hoping that this doesn't go through. I mean, they just presented it. Did it say
Right.
what?
It's still in committee. It's in the Judiciary Committee. So it might not ever get past the committee. It might just
Well,
stay that far. But what they have written into it would make every left wing Democrat, socialist, progressive just be a wet spot on the carpet. They love it. I mean, it takes away everything.
it would make it very hard for the average citizen to own a gun.
Very much so. And then you have to jump through all those hoops. The line shall not be infringed. In this case, it's thrown that line out the window altogether. Everything they have on here that's, in the no list, they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Yes, there's a few that they're leaving in, but more often than not, everything on this list is not permissible.
I mean,
It's
even
crazy.
even to purchase not just firearms, but to go buy a box of ammunition, you have to have a license.
Yep, a federal license,
Yes.
a gun license that says you have been through X number of hours of classroom instruction, X number of hours of on hand instruction, and paid to be determined their amount of money to go through said training.
Hmm.
And then when you do go to purchase a box of bullets, let's take a box of 22s now. You can go over to Wally World. Well, at least you used to before the coronas hit, and you have to get your own limes now. But a inexpensive box of 22s, you could get 500 of the Federals for about 20 something dollars, 24, 25 bucks. Now they want to add a 50% tax on top of that. So where it's going to be 20 now, it'll be $35 for that same box of 22s. Can you imagine how much more expensive big bullets would get? It'll
Well,
become to the point where you can't afford it. And then they want to control, I presume that they will put in there, and I haven't found it yet. I've scrolled through it 3 or 4 times, and I haven't seen anything about reloading. So you should still be able to do your own reloading without having to pay exorbitant fees. But then all your bullets become, you know, black market bullets. Everything will go underground as if this goes through.
let's see.
Who all is it? It has the names of the guys that sponsored it. Let's see.
One of them is Mr. Johnson of Georgia. Now, I'm not sure who Mr. Johnson of Georgia is. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Quigley, Mr. Brown. I don't know why it doesn't have their first names. Mr. Brown of Maryland, Mr. Morrell, Miss DeLauro, Miss Carol B. Maloney of New York,
New
Mr.
York's got a bunch of them.
Mr.
A
Lynch.
Mr. Keating, a Mr. Lynch, a Mr. Mulan, Mr. Presley, Ms. Trahan, sorry, Mr. McGovern, Mr. Danny K. Davis of Illinois, Mr. Neal, Mrs. Clark of Massachusetts, and Mr. Purcell.
I'm not even sure who any of these people are. I mean,
Are they, well, evidently they're all representatives from those states. So
hmm.
your Mr. Johnson of Georgia, he doesn't necessarily, he's in Georgia, but is he out of your district or is he?
I don't recognize his name, so
So
I
let's
have
see
no
if it'll
idea.
tell us here on a fast uh, DuckDuckGo search. Johnson. Johnson. Of course, I spelled his name wrong. Not Johnson and Johnson, but Johnson. I guess I should do it the right way and go Representative Johnson. Johnson, Representative Johnson of Georgia. Hey, there we go. Rep Johnson, Georgia.
So where is he? Okay, the
Hank
fourth
Johnson.
Henry Calvin Johnson's what I'm getting.
I got a Henry.
Okay.
Henry, Hank.
There's the fourth congressional. Georgia's
Right.
fourth congressional. Let's see. That is in
DeKalb County, east of Atlanta.
DeKalb.
Say again?
Okay. Conyers, Covington, Decatur, Lilburn, and Lithonia.
Correct.
And a portion of Snellville. All of that is down close to Stone Mountain.
Okay. Well, he is sticking to his party line and going, guns are bad. Nobody should own weapons of war. As long as we can take them all away from you, tyranny will rule.
How many people are protecting him with a gun?
Everybody around him, of course. That's what, just like de Blasio had said, was it not de Blasio, when asked when he was running for, or no, Bloomberg, excuse me, when he was on the presidential run there for the short term he was.
Right.
A constituent or a general Yahoo out in the audience asked him, hey, you have all these guys with guns around you all the time. Is your life more important than mine? And basically he said, well, yeah, I'm the mayor of New York. Yeah, of course I'm more important than you are. You're just a peon.
Yeah, it cracks me up because of so many of these anti-gun people, or the people that want to make it harder on people to purchase and own guns.
Well, you want to know
But
something even funnier?
they have guards protecting them that hold guns.
No, of course. And the funny thing is, at the start of the beer virus that we have now going on, the Wu-Tang Clan flu,
Yes.
a whole bunch of those left-wing liberals that thought you could just buy a gun anywhere hit a whole bunch of gun stores, and they were complaining online left, right, and sideways about, you know what? You can't just go out and buy a gun. Isn't that amazing?
I wonder why.
It has been like that since day one. I mean, back in the 30s, yeah, you could probably just pop down to the local 5 and 10 and say, yep, I need that one right there. And the guy says $12. You go, here's 13. Thank you. And out the door you went with a box of rounds.
I know.
Not so much nowadays. Now they want your shoe size, your blood type, a DNA swab, the name of your firstborn, a lease of your home. Yeah.
Oh, me.
And the questions they ask are,
They did have a few things on here. Like I said before when me and you were talking, I don't think that they should be mandatory in the sense of infringing on our rights, but I do think that people should take the extra personal effort to do these things. They're talking about forcing people to do safety classes and various other types of things. Now, I did it myself. When I got a gun, when I got my license, I went. There was one of the gun places close to me offers gun safety classes. They offer legal classes, various different things. On top of I frequent the range.
right.
I learned how to clean my own guns. I know how to take my guns apart and put them back together. And I think to me that's part of being a responsible gun owner is to take the effort.
Well, you have to. If you don't know how it operates, why it operates, why do you think there's so many? I was just cleaning the gun and it went off and it shot my neighbor. Well, dumb butt, it's because it was still loaded. The first thing anybody does anytime you look at a weapon is make sure that it's cleared. in a safe manner. Not, hey, let me look down the barrel and make sure there's nothing in there. Yeah. Oh,
It's not just that. It's things like and you see it on TV all the time. They show someone holding or playing with a gun, and where is their finger? Sitting on the trigger.
yeah. It never
I knew
goes
that.
in.
I knew that way before I even got a gun. Is you never put your finger on the trigger until you are ready to actually shoot it.
Pull that trigger. That's what it's there for, to be pulled. Not, it's not a part of an anatomy to be played with.
Right. I mean, it's just stupid things like that. So yes, I do think that it is our personal responsibility to learn everything that we need to learn about a gun before we just go buy one and say, I'm going to protect my family. Well, not only that, but how are you going to protect your family when you don't even know how to use the gun properly? How to hit a target, per se. You're going to shoot the person in the house beside you because you don't know, the proper way of handling things.
That's why everybody should be instructed, at least to the point. If you're going to buy one, I don't see anything wrong with having people go through a safety course, unless you can demonstrate that, hey, look, I spent 10 years in the military. Okay, your course is waived. I was a police officer for 10 years. Okay, your course is waived. You know, circumstances where you have previous experience that should come into play. Now, just general yahoos running through the city have no idea of which end is what. Yeah, they should be instructed on the correct usage handling thereof.
Right. My other issue is the age limit. Uh, I mean, and for me, this even goes with alcohol too. Uh, when I was 18 years old, it was legal for me to walk into a bar and buy a drink. Um, I I'm just against this 21 because if you're old enough to go sign a piece of paper and sign your life away to fight for this country at 18
Then you
years
should be
old.
old enough to drink with it. Well, most military, even though they say 21, I can't think of too many GIs that haven't been hammered way before they were supposed to.
Well,
It just happens.
I remember when they raised it here in Georgia. I had friends that were under 21 who were in the military. Now in the military, and I don't know if it's changed since then, but I know you used to go on base and go to the commissary, and you didn't have to be 21 to purchase there. Um,
Yeah,
but
you still had to be
outside,
21, depending on the state you were in. I mean, when I
yeah.
was in,
Well,
some
that's what
places
I'm
were
saying.
18, but
This
then
is
you were only buying 3.2 beer.
right. This was back in the 80s, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's changed since. But I mean, my opinion is if you're going to serve your country, you should not. If they want to put a 21 years of age on buying a gun and buying beer, then they need to put a 21 year of age before you can go in the military. Also, I mean, fair is fair. Don't send my 18-year-old
Well,
son, and
or give them the exemption. If you
yeah.
have a military ID, then
Right,
you can do whichever. I mean, as long as you're going to vote, you might as well be able to have a shot of booze as well. If you're going to vote at 18, then you should be able to drink at 18. You should be
right.
able to purchase a weapon at 18, although most 18-year-olds are still children. A
I
lot of 25-year-olds are still children.
I mean,
Hell, I'm
in all reality, things.
63 and I refuse to grow up.
Well, I mean, kids are a lot different now than they were per se back when we were younger. Um, I think back then you were. I don't know if it had to do with your upbringing or what, but we were not as immature as kids that are 18 now. I mean,
We
in my
weren't
opinion, an
coddled.
18-year-old now compared to an
We
18
were
year
allowed to go out and play in the dirt, skin our
old.
knees, and
Right. We
bump
weren't
our
grown.
heads.
But yeah, I don't know. If you want to put an age on something, then there either, like you said, there needs to be some sort of a thing, a waiver or something.
Well, yeah,
If
I would say
you're
your military ID
right.
would compensate.
Other than that, you know, I mean, my 12-year-old grandson, he owns a 22 rifle, and he knows how to shoot it. I don't mean he just goes out and like shoots at things. He actually has, you know, the targets and whatnot, and he shoots that and a bow very well.
But see, that's the thing. Rural kids have those advantages. They're taught from a
Yeah,
young age, this is a tool, this is not a toy.
exactly.
In the city, all you have is what you see on TV, unless you have that uncle or cousin out in the boondocks that you can go visit. Most
Right.
of the time, all you have to go on is what you see on the tube, and you're around concrete. Look at New Yorkers, in the middle of New York City, where yeah, not going to
Yeah.
happen.
I just like I said, it kind of a lot of people still raise their kids the same way that we were raised,
Right.
and there's too many who the kids train them.
Well, even back years ago, it was nothing for high school kids, especially here in this
Hmm.
area. I mean, I wasn't one of them, but I talked to people and they said, well, it was nothing to have a shotgun in the back window of the pickup truck or a deer rifle. And, nobody went and shot up the school. Nobody went nuts. I mean,
Well,
and
you know,
hell, trucks weren't locked. I mean, nobody stole them. I mean, it was just a different mindset. It wasn't
but we
like it is
actually
now.
had, you know, in school back in the, I don't know when it ended. I know in the 70s we had it, but we had gun clubs in the school. You brought your guns, and they target practice. They learned things about guns. They you know it was a gun club in the school.
Right. On school property and nobody freaked out. Nobody died. There weren't bloodbaths. It's only in the last, recent times when everybody's been indoctrinated to
Mhm,
let's go just shoot up the school, since Columbine, I guess. Probably is that the first one? I'm not sure. I'm sure one of the jackholes will correct us. And somebody get out there and look on Google and see when the very first. No, I think Columbine is probably the one of the big notarized ones. I think that was before Sandy Hook. I know years ago the Russian school got taken over by the terrorists, but like I say, that was in Russia.
let's see, what was the there was something else that
What was what? I
let me
see those
see.
little gray cells working diligently.
Well, it's in the thing. Okay, so firearm trafficking. I
Right.
thought I thought that that was actually kind of humorous in a sense of I'm trying to
Being
find
illegal to traffic in firearms. I mean, kind of like the Fast and Furious movement was trafficking in firearms, or Benghazi was trafficking in firearms. Yeah. And, they have child trafficking, they have drug trafficking, they have illegals trafficking, human trafficking. And we've really put a stop to all of those in the last, I don't
oh, I
know,
know, right? So
243 years.
it says that it shall be unlawful to sell, transfer, or otherwise dispose of a firearm in of affecting interstate or foreign commerce to any person who is not licensed under Section 923, knowing or having reasonable cause to believe that such person purchased a firearm during the 30-day period ending on the date of such sale or disposition. Okay, so it's unlawful to exchange one firearm for one firearm. So if I like your gun better than I like mine, it's unlawful for us to
Trade.
trade said
Yep.
guns. Even if we do it the proper way, such as in transferring ownership, with our record numbers and all that crap.
Right.
Let's see. So okay, so my whole thing about it, what cracked me up is like you said, have these laws against trafficking children, sex workers, drugs, or here we go, firearms, which is already illegal to traffic.
Isn't
Hasn't
that
stopped
amazing?
because of a piece of paper.
Well, like I say, I'm pretty sure that this proposed bill will go the way of a lot of bills on Capitol Hill and become a nothing burger. I could hope that, but it's got enough bad things in it that it could very well pass. I would hope not. I would like to think that common sense would prevail and go, wait a minute, this is just a wee bit overreaching and kind of pushing the boundaries of our Constitution. So I would think that it would die there. But it's Democrats proposing it, and Democrats say guns bad.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
infringing. It's infringing on our rights. I mean,
well, yeah,
that's
when it
all there
says that says it shall not be infringed upon, that means there's no blocks to it. There's no, and everybody goes, well, does that mean that if the government owns an F-15 that you should? Hey, dude, if you got the money to afford an F-15, by all means, buy that baby.
That's the thing that cracks me up. Because if these people would only do their research, yes, there are civilians who own specialty type of high power military type of gun.
Weapons, yeah. As long
But
as you have the permits for it, you can own
they
anything.
have
If
the
you want a tank,
permit,
you can have a tank.
they have the permits for them. They have special, like where the things are kept, how you can get access to them. I mean, these people have invested a lot of money to ensure that their property is
Toys
not
don't go anywhere
touched.
but to them.
Right. And that is part of it. And on top of that, I'm not sure exactly how many. I know it's every so often. I guess it's the ATF. Um, actually goes to these places and
Oh
checks
yeah,
on
they can check it
that.
anytime. If you own a automatic weapon, a silenced weapon, if you own a serious, firearm, they
Right.
can check that firearm at any time of the day and or night with
Right.
just a knock on the door. Hey, I want to see where it is, what it, and it's like, doesn't matter what you were doing, you have to let them in to inspect where and see what it is.
Right. And that's what kills me is they act like me. Like I have one hidden in my closet somewhere that I went and legally supposedly bought. And I mean, it's like if they really, but then that goes back to the fact that they think that this country is a
Spit
democracy.
it out.
I mean, come on.
Right.
They don't even
Whereas
know that
we're
this
a
country is not a
constitutional
democracy,
republic.
and they don't know the laws that are already out there to prevent these
Well, they
guns
don't
from.
they don't pay attention to them. All right. Murder is already illegal. So why do
Right,
they come out and say it's illegal to kill somebody? Okay, murder is illegal. So now if you kill them, you're in more trouble because you killed them. Well, if you murdered them, they're dead. Dead is dead. I was reading in the paper the other day and they had this one person, they had 15 charges, but it was the same exact thing. They just kept saying it different ways. and kept compiling it and compiling it, I guess just so they could make the shorter or make the sentence shorter in the end by going, oh, look, we gave all this up, but we're still giving you this.
Hmm.
Call it what it is. A horse is a horse, a duck is a duck.
I just feel like these people, pardon my French, they got their ass from a hole in the ground.
Like they're making the law where it's illegal to lynch somebody. Lynching is illegal. Okay, hanging somebody is illegal to start with. So now you have to come out and say, well, lynching is too. Lynching and hanging is the same
Lynching
thing.
and hanging are the same thing. That's what I mean, though. It's these people that we have in office. It's like,
Do stupid things
to
just
me, they
because they
aren't
can.
qualified because they don't research what they want to argue about. If you want to argue about something, if you want to argue about guns, go shoot a gun. Go to a damn range, get a instructor or whatever to go over things and teach you how to use a gun and show you how they work and everything else. Learn the laws that are already in for guns and then come and argue with me. But don't argue that I should not have a gun when you have never shot a gun and you're so damn scared of a gun that you want nobody to have one.
Yeah, you know, them AR-14s are some really bad rammer jammers. And they have them 100 bullet clips and everything that go in there, and they come out faster than you could squeeze the trigger.
Oh, yeah,
It
so
always
that's
cracks
what
me
got
up.
me up too.
Guns are bad. We need to ban them. Okay, well, let's ban forks so people don't get fat. Let's
That,
ban cars so people don't get run over because
oh,
let's
yeah, or
face it.
drunk drivers. Just ban alcohol so people don't get drunk and drive those bad cars and run over people.
Oh, yeah, but see,
And hit a
gasoline's
sparkle
bad for
on.
the environment. So, yep, we need to ban them altogether.
Yeah, it shows me how stupid our government is when they want to do things like this. I mean, okay,
And
let's
we
get.
send those people there. That's
I
the
know.
sad
So,
part. We send them there.
so let's move over to show how stupid AOC is. Okay.
Hey, you
Did
know,
you
I just
see?
happened, I'm glad you said her name
Well,
because,
you saw where she's whining and crying because these checks that are supposed to be mailed out to help people. Um, she's whining because illegals will not be in the group of people that are to get a check. Okay, well, illegal, that's the key word there. This is
very
for
much so.
Americans.
Hmm. Well, in the stimulus package, they refugees get money, believe it or not. They get
Yeah,
a good chunk of money. As a matter of fact, I
well,
believe
yeah,
they get about, oh, let's see here. Refugees, as I scroll over,
350
or
million.
the immigration refugees, oh, $350 million out of the stimulus package that we all just decided to get.
And see, that's the thing that got me is this should have been something that was done all by itself to protect us, to
Well, why is
help us.
Amtrak getting $1 billion? I mean,
Who's that?
why?
Who?
Amtrak, they get a
Why?
billion dollars. I'm not sure why. Subsidies. I mean, why does the Kennedy Center need $75 million? And the funny thing is, the Kennedy Center, they get 75 mil. They just laid off 40 musicians. So
See, that's
why
what
are
I'm
they laying them
saying.
off if they got the money?
This package that they put together should have not been for anything but like for Americans to help us out in the situation of not being able to work and this, that, and the other. It shouldn't have been included in anything else. It should have been straight up what it is, and that's it. They could
I
have done all
agree.
that stuff on their own time in another bill and argued back and forth over that.
But no,
And
it's so
I think
much
it's
easier
only
to
fair.
add to the stimulus. Let's add this in. I mean, look at all this junk. None of that is, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
that doesn't make any sense.
And we're giving money away to everywhere else but where it needs to go, to the Americans, us here.
Where's the
That's a
wall at on that?
whole lot of money.
Where's the wall
You
at
could,
on that? I don't see the wall anywhere on that.
where's our show? I don't see our show on that list.
Yeah, where's our time? I mean,
It's crazy the things that, and we send those people to
I
Capitol
didn't
Hill. We're
name
the ones, you know, they're supposedly working for us, but we're the peons that don't know any better. We're we're the ones
no,
that
they're not working for us. They're working for everybody who is outside of an American. They're
exactly.
working for the illegals. They're working for all the other countries, but they're not working for Americans. I mean, I honestly think if they had their option, they would have let us all drown as it is, you know?
Oh, they would if they thought they could. They do. I mean, they don't think much of us at all. We're a means to the end. We're their paycheck, and I think that's all they see us as
And
is
I
chattel.
honestly feel that a lot of them should have had to forego their paychecks during this time also.
Well, I think it would be great to put them on the same plan as everybody else. No more Cadillac health plan. No more full paycheck at retirement. I think they should get $15 an hour for the time that they're up there and only the time that they're up
Well,
there.
I think we've talked about this before that my whole theory about that is if they were making a subminimal paycheck to do the job that they were put in there to do, that they would have to want to be in there pretty damn bad in order to do that. And once they completed what they were supposed to do, and that goes to term limits, which I believe that they all should have is a term limit, then they go back to their regular job. Their, whatever it is they were doing before they went into office, go back to it, and that is where you retire from, and that is the retirement that you get is from the job that you had before you went into
Before.
office. And now
But
it's
look
like,
at AOC now. She's only been up there not even a full set, and she's already didn't Netflix give her a $10 million for some kind of documentary on tennis shoes or something along those lines.
it's like
So
we're making millionaires. We are making millionaires. They go in there and they sit there until they're literally dead. It's just wrong.
and then some. Yeah, it's just so they can keep making that big time money, and they don't share.
My dad was 60 something years old when he was literally ran off his job. Even though he could still do his job, he was still pushed out the door.
Right,
Why?
because they didn't need him anymore. That, and you figure they were paying him a big time wage because he'd been there for so long. He was probably maxed out in his tier, and they can get a 20 something year old to come in there for $17 an hour, where he was getting 40s or 50, whatever. They can bring somebody in for next to nothing.
It's just
That's how they
ridiculous.
do it.
The normal civilian will get knocked out the door and they're just living there. They should have beds in their office because that's where they live. And they got several houses all over the place and
Well, that's, yeah,
all
they have deep, deep pockets, and the lobbyists keep feeding them more. Hey, oh, you need a place to stay? Well, here's one in the Hamptons. Here's one over here on Martha Vineyard.
and they go in with they might be comfortable, they might have a nice little savings or whatever, but they go in like normal people and now they come out as multimillionaires. Something's
Right.
wrong with that picture.
And like Rocky said or a second ago, I thought it was there. I was going to read it just to make sure I quoted her right, and she retracted it. You, Romy. Um, maybe what they'll do is they'll give us this money, these checks that are coming, and say, okay, You don't have to pay any taxes in. We'll just call everything fair and square. Here's this. You don't have to file for the rest of it.
Yeah,
We
I'm
give the
so
IRS more taxpayer money, but they won't let us not file our taxes as payback.
if we don't pay our taxes, the only way that we can get away with that is to work cash money under the table. Nobody knows about it, and you buy a safe for your house, and you put all your dead gum money in the house, in the safe,
And
and
pray it
that's
doesn't burn
all.
down.
Because other than that, they're gonna freeze your checking account. They're going to garnish your wages. They're gonna do everything that they have to do in order to keep you from either making money or whatever. And
They do
it's not
that now.
fair. It's not fair that they can take our money and do what they damn well please with it, and then just leave us to sit out here to do what they feel that we should do.
Exactly. Well, that's like theoretically, you shouldn't get a refund unless you have extra income, earned income credit where they give you that extra cash. Because I know some people that worked and did, maybe $5,000 in taxes and get checks back for 15 because of all the kids. Those people are making a killing where everybody else that's paying in is just, barely getting by. It should be a zero sum thing. When they send you money back, that's because you gave them too much,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically. It should be an even keel thing. They take out just enough to cover what you theoretically owe each year.
The median
Damn,
income
75. See,
75.
20,000 difference.
Wow. See,
20 grand. That's a lot.
I
I mean,
just
it's not like VA sends me millions. That's for darn sure.
was like, this year I've done my taxes, but I haven't sent them as
Well,
of
you have
yet.
until July 15th. Now they
Right
extended it. So,
now, thank goodness, because I mean it's just not a good time right now. But I'm literally at owing 2,000,
right.
and I honestly do not know where I'm going to come up with that 2,000 because I mean I'm literally living paycheck to paycheck, and I just I don't get it. I really don't get it. But if I don't send them, then that means I'm going to be worried about my paycheck every week going in my checking account and my checking account being frozen or them withdrawing it before I even get in there to see it.
Yeah, it's not good
So, I
at
mean,
all.
the only other option, like I said, is to work a job making cash money, and you know, it wasn't me.
That's all one can do is hope. And
Yeah.
it can only get better. Either that or we get really lucky and Yellowstone goes off, or the Martians invade, or what's that one? Apophis lands
Well,
on us.
my whole thing at this point, and I know a lot of people don't want to see it happen. I, I mean, we need a rebirth. We need to clean
A
house.
reset.
To we need to do something and have a fresh start. And it just yeah, Rocky. I've heard that whatever amount of money that we do get, we're gonna have to turn around and pay our money back to them because it is our money to begin with.
Exactly.
They,
So there, it'll be like the one that they did. What was it, 2007, 08, whenever it was? Everybody got a
I haven't
check,
got that far.
or a lot of people got a check. But then when you did your taxes the next year, they said, by the way, that check you got, we have to claim that as income. So now you have to pay that back.
I don't remember getting anything. So I may not have gotten any. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just like I just feel like we're in a volcano, and the volcano is getting ready to erupt, and something there's
I
you
agree,
got to
Rocky.
come
Too
to a head
much.
at some point because things are just getting worse and worse and worse, and they think that this isn't a I can never say it, apocalypse or whatever.
Apocalyptic.
Yes, I just
Is it the end times? Well, sometimes I wish it were.
I'm gonna welcome it because I honestly don't know how much more I can take of all of the liberal changes and the way they are destroying this country.
Oh,
It's
it's
like
crazy. And yes, Timmy, what the government giveth, the government can take it away
they
tenfold.
give us back our money to help us make it through the month, and then they take it back that money.
Yeah. Here's a nickel. Go buy a loaf of bread. Oh, by the way, that loaf of bread now costs you $27.
Right. But yeah, it pisses me off because I don't see an end to this. I really don't see an end to it.
No, well, I mean, if they could turn the lights off, we could, if all electricity, all internet, and everything crashes and burns. What was that show back a few years ago, Revolution,
If
where
I had the money, that is one of the biggest things that I would do is buy me a piece of property, build me a house that was completely off of the grid.
have your own water, have your own everything. Yeah,
Well,
it could
they
be
even
done.
after that they even and started telling people you can no longer, save rainwater. You can't do this. You can't do that. Anything to keep you from doing that, because they want to control us so bad. They want to control our dollar. They want to control us. They want to control what we do and how we
What
live.
we do, when we do, how we do. Yeah, 100% control.
Yeah, they are
There's an old book
printing.
written, George Orwell, I believe, wrote it. Had an earlier date, 84 on it, I do believe.
Government, here's a nickel, buy a gallon of milk for 25 cents and pay 50 cents in tax on that purchase. Yep, that's about it. Or probably $1 in tax.
Oh, that's no lie. That's no lie. I
Right.
watch the commodities on the stock market every morning, Monday through Friday. Gas right now is under 50 cents a gallon. So whatever you're paying at the pump, subtract 50 cents, and then everything else is government money. Whether it's state government, local government, federal government, they got their hands in it way deep. It used to only be 80 cents per gallon, but now it's probably closer to $1.10.
We are at the end of our show. We've got
Oh
about a minute.
goodness.
So you can tell them where they can see you at throughout the week.
Let's see, guys. You can catch me over on Twitter. That's at Leprechaun56 on the Twitter, LEPRACON 56. And in all the MeWe rooms, or at least 99% of them, just leave me a note. I'll catch up to you there. And Monday through Friday, you can hear the Daily Hello over in MeWe on your Daily Hello.
And you can see us on Spreaker and YouTube